Hi, everyone, and this is Bud Rebel for another exciting episode of the Bud Rebel Show. I'm gonna get little bit more relaxed here. It's gonna be one of the shows that we always have really exciting guests. We do some weird facts that you never hear anywhere else. I give you some of my business ideas, which you can make money. I have investment ideas. We have things I hate, and maybe Vincent will hate too. And we also always try to end up with a happy note. Today, I have a very exciting guest. His name is Vincent and he's been in a lot of big movies, Vincent Ward, that I know, and TV shows, and a lot of exciting stuff. It's very exciting to hear about. Like I've watched some of the stuff you've been in, like everyone hates Chris. I love that show, and Walking Dead. Why don't you give us a little background how you got into acting and how what inspired you and the whole nine yards?
Man, honestly, man, I started acting because I got fired from General Motors.
Wow.
Um, I got hurt on the job and they fired me.
And when did
And
this,
of
wait, how old were
course,
you? How old were you working with General Motors? When did this happen?
man, it was probably 1994, 95. I'm 53 right now. So it was back then and then after that, I had to do something because I already had two kids. So I started working at Champ Sports. Became no, became the number one salesman in the district. And this was in Dayton, Ohio. And they said, we want to train you as assistant manager, but you have to move to Columbus. I said, okay, fine. Moved to Columbus, became the number one salesman in the district there. One day the general manager came. He said, you're doing such a great job in your company. How far do you want to take it? Now I'm training as assistant manager. I'm not even assistant manager yet. And it was a nice conversation. I simply said, I would like to have a position like yours one day. But 2 weeks later, he fired me, man.
Wow.
Yeah, and my manager told me, he said, Vince, whatever you said to the general manager, that's why I have to let you go. And, I was hurt. I was really hurt. And maybe 3 weeks after that, I went and saw my very first play. And I'm almost 30. And I had never seen a play before, but I fell in love with it that day. Little small theater called Living the Dream Theater in Columbus, Ohio. And afterwards, I go to all the actors and actresses, and I'm so excited, to talk to them. They was like, "You should come audition." And I'm like, "Really? What's an audition?" I didn't even know what an audition was. So it was like it's like an interview. So I went and auditioned, and I got a part. But the killer thing about it, bud, is maybe a month after that, Champs tried to give me my job back, and I told him no. I found something I love to do. And then when I first got my first big break in a movie called Traffic, I moved to LA. And when it was time for me to move to LA, General Motors cut me a check for $10,000 telling me not to come back. So what we might think is a negative might be a positive to push you into what you really and truly should be doing.
That's really wild. So, with all these changes, how was your family dealing with it? All of a sudden, you're 30 years out, you're old, and you go see a play, and you want to be an actor. And how did
My mom,
your wife and your kids, were they like, yeah, you can do it? Or, I mean, your kids are probably young. How was the whole response of everybody?
my mom doesn't hold her tongue. So when she first came and saw the play, because when I first saw her, I was like, yeah, I'm about to start acting. She's like, okay. So then when she came to the play, it was like a 25 seat theater. So it was small, but it was like dinner. It was dinner in a play. So she's like, oh my God, what has he gotten himself into now? So when she saw the play and she saw me perform, she was like, that's your calling. Because I've always been an entertainer. I used to be a dancer in a rap group. We would open up shows for like MC Hammer and Public Enemy and Salt and
Wow.
Pepper. And then I was a basketball star, and I used to entertain on the basketball court. When I used to dunk, I'd come down, do dances, and get the crowd all hyped up and stuff like that. So I've always had that entertainment blood in me.
So what happened that we're working at GM? How did that come about? You were in a role of being a basketball player and all this other stuff. How'd you get to work for GM anyway? How did that come about?
Well, being from the Midwest, one of the things about the Midwest is a lot of people at that time worked for General Motors,
Hmm.
um, aka GM. My dad worked there, my uncles worked there, and being from the Midwest, that was the job to have. You were going to work, you were going to retire, and that was it.
That's
And
funny.
so, even touring with my rap group, I just got tired of it, man, because we really wasn't making any money. We were just having fun.
Hmm.
And going back to like school, college or whatnot, that second summer, I ended up not going back. I ended up um, working at GM.
So you work so when you got off this job and you're always going to be active, yeah. I mean, you have two kids and you have a
Hmm.
house and you tell your wife,
No, I didn't have a house or anything. I was
whatever,
just,
I'm
I
adding the house
graduated in
to
'89.
it. So you have two kids and I know if your wife, what is your wife's response? Does she say,
I
"Oh, great.
wasn't married at that time.
Oh, okay.
I had two kids in high school. I was just
Oh, having
a
fun."
hot ass.
But okay, so you didn't have the responsibility of like your wife saying no to you. That's so yeah. So you took this and you were like, I guess you had this confidence that you could do this. In other words, it was something that you were so.
Yeah, my thing was, as long as I rehearsed and as long as I got comfortable with remembering the lines,
Yeah, that's got to be the
I'm
scary
never gonna.
thing. The line
Yeah,
is scary.
that was the most scariest thing, and to do it live, and that's why I say to this day, anybody that can do a play can do anything because there's no cut, there's only action, and if you mess up, you better know how to play it off.
And you do, does it
So,
happen at times people forget their lines and you had to just play it off on each other a lot? Or
oh yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, when it's TV and movies, you can mess up. People mess up all the time, but guess what? You can cut and start all over. But with plays, you can't do that. I remember a couple years ago, I was doing a play called Redemption of a Dog with Snoop Dogg.
oh, funny.
Now I'm like, now at this time, I'm real confident of doing plays because I've done over 100 off Broadway plays. But when they's like, well, Snoop, Snoop is having a play, and it was like an all-star cast,
Mhm.
and Snoop is the lead, so I'm thinking he's just gonna have a couple lines just to show his face to get the audience in. No, this guy had lines from the beginning to the end, and he did a awesome job, and I was surprised. And then the thing about it is he was off book in 2 weeks. Now we know Snoop Dogg smokes weed. He smokes a lot of weed. But this one particular day, I had to go to him and I was like, I said, dog, I said, as much as you smoke, how do you remember all your lines? He said, cuz if I didn't smoke, I probably couldn't remember my lines. And I was like, you might have a point there. So, but yeah, with theater, you have,
I think well, if you ask Snoop any question, it would be if I didn't smoke, I wouldn't be able to drink, I wouldn't be able to eat, I wouldn't be able to go to the bathroom. I think that's I think
yeah.
you're gonna give him that line to anything, and he would have said, "Smoke."
But I respected that he came in and he took it serious. But
Right.
one funny thing about it is he didn't realize that you had to change clothes in different scenes. So everywhere he goes, he has his security. So now, we're touring and whatnot, and behind the scenes, people don't see what's happening. But behind the scenes, during different scenes, he's running to change clothes, and his security is running behind him. I'm like,
That's
why is
crazy.
your security even here?
Yeah, unbelievable.
So
They're always with them. That's funny. I mean,
yeah.
you've never struggled when you once you got into acting, it's been has it been a little ups and downs, or has it been pretty consistent?
Oh man, please. It's a lot of downs and ups. But you have to have faith. You have to be patient, man. If this is, I always say, if this is just a hobby or something you just want to jump in to do and you think it's gonna happen overnight, it's not. Even though I've been in a lot of stuff, man, I tell people all the time, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be.
Right.
Sometimes you have to go through a few heartaches to get to where you really and truly want to be. And it's just like I've been looked over before, for reality show person or athlete or something like that. And it used to piss me off, but in the same breath, it's like in due time, I feel like I'm actually this close to where I really and truly want to be.
Well, I mean, it sounds when you talk about all these exciting people you worked with, I mean, it's like unbelievable. You're right there and then. I mean, when you did everyone hates Chris. I mean, that's one of my favorite actors. So I mean, other
Yeah,
than
but with Terry, with Everybody Hates Chris, I was only there for Terry Cruz's. I was his personal stand-in.
Mm,
But the way that I maneuvered myself is I used to tell all the stand-ins, we're going to do these lines because we had to read the lines and act like we were Terry Crews and Tashina and Tyler. And I said, we're going to read these lines as if we're the characters.
right.
And so by us doing that, it was always like a audition. We would have different directors every week. And a lot of times those directors would go to other shows and they would call us. And that's how I end up having so many parts on Everybody Hates Chris, is because they saw that I was a real actor. And I was probably the only stand-in that had a stand-in because I would be gone a lot of the times too. But I used to love working on that show. We had a good time.
Oh, when we get back, he's our friend Vince is going to tell some of these stories behind the actors that we don't normally hear about.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, we're back with Vincent. Now, Vincent, I mean, I want to know some of these actors, some interesting things you never know about some of the big names. It could be weird facts, it could be funny facts. I mean, who's the most? Let's give you an example. Who was the most kind as an actor that named actor would say?
Um, so I have a new movie out called Seven Cemeteries starring Danny Trejo. And Danny is probably one of the nicest guys you ever. Danny, Snoop, believe it or not. Um, and Tashina Arnold. And Terry Crews was cool too.
Is it, and
But
I
those
don't know.
four,
I don't know if you're allowed to say who was not so nice.
you know what, honestly, it's another one more that was extremely nice. Andrew Lincoln, he played Rick on The Walking Dead. Yeah, I love that guy. I've only ran across one person that acted like a butthole, and I'm gonna set up the story for you. So I was in a movie called Ocean's 11, and every day played basketball with George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, and
Who's the
one
best basketball
day
player? Wait, who's the best basketball player? You said, but who's really the best basketball
George
player?
Clooney,
Coach Clooney.
George Clooney.
All right, still a good athlete.
He's well, Matt Damon was good too, though. Matt Damon was good, but George Clooney by far. And one day, Spike Lee came. Okay. And I never met Spike Lee. I'm excited. I'm still new in the industry or whatnot. This is probably my second or third year in California, and still trying to get my feet wet. And I've always been a fan of Spike Lee. And one day, he came to the set, and I asked to take a picture with him because this is somebody that I looked up to and respected. And this dude acted like he had an attitude. He was like, "Come on, man." And I said, "That's okay." I said, "I see you going through some things. We don't need to take a picture. I'm fine." So later on that day, when he left, all the people was talking bad about him. And they were saying he just wants a big white actor in one of his crappy movies.
I'll play.
Right. But you know what? Any other time I probably would have stood up for him, be like, well, he does have some big white actors in his movies, and they're not crap.
Right.
I would have stood up for him. But when he acted like that towards me, when they said that, I was like, yeah, y'all right.
I see he has a little
I would
attitude when I
have
watch
been
it. When I
with
watch the
them.
Knicks game, he has a little bit of attitude. I see that when he's in the basketball scene, he seems to has that attitude a little bit. It's funny, you can see it.
Yeah. So he
How
was
about
probably the only one.
who's the most unique actor that we know? Like the ones that are a little bit who are a little off the character, really like maybe like really funny. It's really like zany or whatever.
I have to say, um, Andrew Lincoln. And the reason why I say that is I tell this story all the time. It was a big death scene. So the two characters, we all went to dinner to celebrate them, saying goodbye to them or whatnot. Now, I have been working on the show for 2 months. Now, I'm sitting next to Andrew or Andy. I'm sitting next to him, and I'm not a big drinker. Even though I'm a big guy, I'm not a big drinker. And I had a glass of wine, and I remember taking one sip, right? And all of a sudden, this dude starts talking in this British accent. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had to I looked at him, I looked at my drink, I looked back at him, and I said, hey man, I said, what's up with the accent? Why are you talking like that? He said, you didn't know I was British? I was like, what? The whole time, even when it was cut and we were just sitting around, he was always Andrew Lincoln with the Southern drawl. So when I heard this British accent, it threw me for a
It's
loop,
amazing
man.
those actors when they do that, right? When they you have to do you have
Yeah.
accents, do you have to add different accents as well in parts that you
Oh man, I'm terrible. I'm terrible, man.
have?
I remember one time, I remember one audition I went, I forgot the name of the show. And the night before, I was like, I'm just gonna watch Idris Elba this whole time on YouTube. So I'm just trying to get the dialect down or whatnot. Because they asked, could I do it? I was like, yeah, I can do one. This was probably the only time in my career that I got kicked out of the audition.
Oh my God.
Soon as I started, the casting director was like, stop, just stop. He said, what is this? I said, what are you talking about? He said, that was horrible.
Oh
I
my
thought you could do
God.
a British accent. Yeah, I was surprised.
That's very
So,
funny.
I got a little offended when he said it was horrible. And I was like, and he was like, you just get out, just get out.
Oh my
I
God.
said, you know what? I might couldn't do your British accent, but I can speak English. And I just walked out. And when I got out there, I was just cracking up laughing at myself. It was bad. So,
It's good to be able to laugh at yourself. That's something. I guess there are times you think you got a role, you get all set, and it just goes a different way. How do you deal with that disappointment when that happens?
man, all the time. It's like that all the time, you know. It's just like with social media. People only post the positive stuff. They ain't gonna
Mhm.
post the negative stuff. They're not, I hate it when a lot of actors are walking to the audition and they just want to say anything, they're on the phone like, oh man, my hair or what. And I'm like, your hair? You just want us to see that you're on set or in a trailer. It's this one guy, this one actor. He always, soon as he get an audition, I'm on a set. I'm going to my audition at Paramount and whoop de whoop whoop de whoop. How about you tell us that you didn't get the part since you want to tell us that you're going out for the part?
Right. Yeah,
How about doing that?
I think that everybody we'll talk about that too, because everybody needs to hear the reality of life. We see this excitement of the movies. And I also say, one of the things when I was doing filming, there's a lot of sitting around. And then,
Oh man.
another thing is that bothered me with acting is that, do it over, do it over, do it over. You can do like the same scene 10 times. And you got to memorize not only what you're saying, but what your hand was and
They move.
motion. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets to be almost, I don't know. What was the times that you had the most do-overs, you say? Do you remember how many I
You,
had?
you none. I focus
No, no, not for
so
you.
hard.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about where they have to do the scene over. Not you. It's the director saying, let's try.
Oh, I definitely got a story for that. Everybody hates Chris. I forgot the actor's name, but he was one of Chris Rock's friends. He was one of Ali Leroy's friends. And this guy, he will always have the scenes where he has to be by himself, but he still got a lot that he has to say. It got to the point that the people behind the scenes, the lighting people, the people that's moving the cables, people like that, they start betting on how many times this guy would mess up. And I swear to you, it'd get up to 15, 20 times of this guy messing up. And for me, it's just like, how disrespectful is that? But
He's
he's Chris
Chris's
Rock's
friend.
friend. He's Ali
A
Leroy's
friend.
friend.
Right.
But if I'm your friend, I should come and I should have my stuff together more than anybody. It
Yeah.
was embarrassing. And I told myself, I will never be that guy,
Right.
him,
Yeah.
ever.
No, I know, I know. It's can be really, yeah, it's frustrating. You work so hard to get there, and then you're watching this person. But sometimes the people that just, as you said before, just get there because they know somebody more than anything else.
Yeah. Exactly. And even with Everybody Hates Chris, being a stand-in, it made me focus a lot on my moves and the lighting and the cameras because I was learning. I was my thing was I was going to learn everything while watching Terry. And I remember our fourth season that they were trying to decide if we were coming back for a fifth season. And Terry told me, he said, "Man, look, if we come back next season, I don't want you to come back and be my stand-in because you're too talented to be my stand-in."
That's great.
And for me, I was like, all right, I understood what he was saying because he used to come, him and his wife used to come to some of my plays, and he just thought it was like the most amazing thing to see, a play and see how people act in a play. And I used to get, even though it was some people that was, some celebrities or whatnot, above me, but I used to steal the show. Not that I was trying to, but you can tell who's done plays and who hasn't done plays. And I wasn't coming down to them. They would have to come up to me. Their name is already up here. You know what I mean? But the talent wasn't.
Which is better, being in a movie or being in a play for you?
I actually love being in plays more. I love hearing that. I love hearing the audience. But of course, that doesn't pay the bills. The bills,
And
movies,
you,
TV.
it's funny you bring that up because I have a different career other than this podcast. Is they're paying the bills. And today,
Hmm.
I do my work every day and nobody notices. And just one customer, said, I love you guys as you guys do. And it just meant like, this is why I'm here. And I think when you're
Hmm.
doing your performances and you walk out there, and I guess one of the people in the audience, not a famous person, just says, you did a really amazing job. It probably helps you more than anything else. I remember going to I remember going to an art place, and and they had everyone's artwork, and I just said, wow, that's really amazing. He goes, that's really the reason I'm here. I mean, I have to pay the bills, but it's
Mm.
just that I recognize how great they
Hmm.
are. And I think that's really that motivates, probably motivates you as much the actor as getting the paycheck. Because in the movie, you don't really know what people are thinking. You don't see it. They're watching it on TV. Show that you see it right there and then.
Well, with social media now, people feel like they know you. They can touch you because they can get in contact with you,
Right.
and they'll let you know. That's just this show that I'm on called House of Vicious, and my character Bishop is just insane, totally different from who I am in real life. I mean, just a bad dude, and I don't even cuss in real life, and this dude is just cussing his head off. So, but they definitely let you know how they feel. And going back to theater, you have to have a love and a passion for it. And I remember that first company that I performed with, at the Living a Dream Theater. My director, writer, his name was James Chapman. And even though he gave me an opportunity, I always felt like he hated on me.
Mm.
And I remember two situations. And I had started becoming more comfortable, doing the plays or whatnot, because we would do plays, we would do like a tour going to different colleges. And he would make a lot of money from it, but they was like educational plays. And I remember my confidence had started building. And I remember one time I asked him, I said, "So James, how you think I'm doing?" And I remember him looking at me and saying, Vince, sometimes people get things because of the way they look. And he walked away. He walked away, and I'm just like,
What
the
does that
hell you
mean?
mean by that?
Yeah, right.
And that was one situation. And another situation is I remember I had started doing other plays and independent films and stuff, but now in Columbus. And so I was the only one branching from his play company. I was branching out, doing other things. And I remember this one time we were at lunch and we had just got done performing. We was at dinner. We had just got done performing. And this lady who came to see the play and she was talking to James and I can hear them. We were in line, but I can still hear them. And she said, "That young man right there is going to be a great actor one day." And she was pointing at me. And he said, "Who, him?" And she's like, She said, and he said, yeah, he is tall, isn't he?
Hmm.
And the lady said, I didn't say anything about his height. I was talking about his skills. And right then and there, I knew it was time for me to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And I left.
That's you
I knew I had outgrew that.
That's no, that's a tough thing because we sometimes we get stuck in things because we don't have the confidence to leave. And that's, the power of
Hmm.
people ahead when people are not bringing you up, they're bringing you down, which is it's really
Yeah.
important to do that and move on. I was gonna tell you, which do you like playing, the bad guy or the good guy, if you have a choice?
Honestly, it doesn't matter, but it seems like people like to see me play the bad guy more. And I think it's because of my voice and my height and my build. So I think people like to see me play that. But the good guy is really who I am because I don't like to give anybody problems. I believe in being on time. And my thing is if I'm ever late to something, something has to be wrong. And
You
because
know
I
what?
pride myself on being that and being a true professional.
Yeah, but I think I like playing the bad guy. I love it. I love just giving like
Yeah,
the
me
person
too.
I'm not, like it's just fun to be like get that all out, that you can't do in the real
Hmm.
world. So
Yeah,
I'd be scared though if I get a really good part and all of a sudden someone identifies me and thinks I'm an asshole in real life. That's the only
yeah.
problem. You walk out that door and they think that's really you, but it's pretty funny.
I, I I remember my buddy hit me up one time and he was like, hey, he said, hey man, were you at the mall today? And I was like, yeah, why? He said, my girlfriend saw you, and when she saw you, she automatically got scared and walked on the other side of the mall. And I was like, really? I said, man, tell her I said thank you.
That's great. That's great. All right, we got some weird facts. You ready for some weird facts? We call them
Sure.
Snapple facts. Okay. I thought it was pretty interesting. Istanbul is the only city that lies in two continents. I don't know what continents they are. It's a pretty interesting fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a very sad fact, which I didn't realize it was
Mm.
sad. Because I just went with somebody who's a little heavy to dinner, and I didn't realize it's this bad. Being
Mhm.
obese is as bad as smoking and lowering your life expectancy.
Is what it? You say what now?
It's as bad as smoking in terms of lowering your life expectancy, being obese.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was like, I mean, it's like if you were smoking, do you tell your friend to stop smoking? Generally, you might make a joke and say, it's not really good for you, whatever. Now, if someone's obese, I do tell them they're being obese. You don't do that because generally you try to be, you don't quote fat shame, but they're gonna die. If they're gonna die and suffer, it's like, shouldn't we do more for that? It's a weird thing.
it's a way to say it though. It's definitely a way to say it.
And
You know,
sometimes
I,
it's people on medicines that can make them fat heavy, so it's whatever glands. But yeah, if it's really hurting their life, I feel bad not saying anything.
and 9 times out of 10, they know that. They
Yeah.
they 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 know it too, but some of them just can't control them. Some of them just don't care. But the ones that make me sick is the ones that, they've been fat their entire life, and then they lose weight, and then every picture they want to show their butt, or they want to be halfway naked, or they want to talk bad about, big people when they were once big too.
Right.
So it's just like, how dare you try to fat shame somebody? It's just like the comedian Monique. That yeah, you should be her joke. She used to always talk about skinny Mitches. That's what she always called them.
Right.
And then once she lost weight, then you couldn't tell her nothing.
Right. Yeah, no, you got I think there's got to be a way. I think sometimes though, and this is what I brought up before, I have one of my family members would tease me the way I said something. And by
Hmm.
teasing me, I stopped speaking that way. Now, I'm not saying I don't think it's a great way to do things, but sometimes when people put it right in your face, you just change your way. I mean, and if it's life and death, like type of thing, I don't know. I feel I didn't know it's that serious. I didn't know it's life and death. Okay, I got some good issues, and this is where I think it's pretty interesting. Issues that have come up. One is which
Okay.
is right now with the new administration, government efficiency. The amount of money that government spends inefficiently is mind-boggling. I'll give you a quick example. And this, I hope it goes to the White House. I hope it goes somewhere else. I don't know if you know this, but every government agency gets a quarterly expense. At the end of the quarter, they have to spend that money. If they don't spend that money,
Hmm.
they lose it the next quarter, which means if they needed one pencil, they buy 3,000 pencils. They don't need them because they don't lose their money. Why don't we give that money? I think I'm repeating myself from the last show, but it just drives me crazy. But why don't we give that money back to those people working, a little portion of them, put that money in a nest egg so they can make things better. And what I hate about government is nothing ever gets better. They have the
No,
homeless. There's still so much homeless because they have the same cause. We need to change the system. And I hope they do that.
yeah, we could giving that money back is like too much being right. It's like, oh, we're not going to give that money back. We'd rather go spend it on something stupid. You know,
Yeah.
in this, we're sending millions and billions of dollars to other countries, but you have these vets just walking around here that's homeless.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable that we can't take care of our own people like that. And it's the same thing. And it's just like you can keep the money in like a nest egg. So you can do these projects. You don't have to give it back,
Hmm.
but you can put it and then give the incentive to save money. It's mind blowing. And what I also was going to mention too is that the people that know are citizens. So I'm hoping that the new administration will put regular citizens like they did with Elon Musk and this other guy. They should put regular citizens in government because they know what's going on a little bit, and we need to have more of that going on than just these government bureaucrats that need it for their jobs and the security.
Hmm.
People that are outside can come in, work a little bit, or be on a commission, and then try to introduce new ideas to make things better.
Well, hey, brother, keep hope alive. We'll see.
Do you listen to podcasts at all?
Do I podcast?
Listen to them. No, I'm like the ones that fictional podcasts. Do you ever listen to any fictional podcasts?
You know what? My wife does.
I'm just
I
telling you,
audition. I audition for a lot of them, but my wife, she loves those, man.
they're
Big
amazing.
time.
Sometimes because actually going to produce one of my films.
Hmm.
I want to save a few dollars on the expense of making the film, to be honest with you, and then see what happens with it because I love the story. I wrote it a long time ago, and the cool
Hmm.
thing about it is I don't have to worry about people memorizing lines. The script's right there. So and there's no lighting, and I mean it's terrible for actors that way, but it's really good in the sense that it gives you a chance to do things big,
Hmm.
not with the big cost. So
Right.
last one I just watching one called the Lost City, I think Lost City. It's really wild. It's like this, the whole world goes like pollution and they build these new little towns to be in it. But the acting's really great and it's so much fun to listen to. It's like I drive a
Mm.
lot going back and forth with the Bronx. So I'm driving an hour each day. I know you're in Los Angeles, probably, right? Yeah.
Yes, home of the Dodgers.
That's right. I was a Met fan. I don't really care. It's as long as once you beat me, I didn't care anymore. That's the end of that. It didn't bother me at all. But
You said the Lost City? That's the name of it?
I think it's the Lost City. Yeah, yeah. Lost City.
I just wrote it down. I'm gonna
Yeah,
check it out.
it's really great. I love the stories. It's just so much fun. I think I get figured it out at the end, but it's pretty cool the way it's going. And I just think this is great if you're driving for distance. It keeps you off.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the one I would recommend.
My wife, she loves all of that,
Is she an
man.
actress also, your wife?
No, she's a TK teacher, but she's the biggest horror fan you ever want to meet.
Oh,
I have to compete with Michael Myers all the freaking time, man.
uh,
That's the only other man I'll be like, all right, that's her boyfriend.
I have a very interesting thing I just saw, and it's weird. I'm going to bring it up because I feel comfortable with you. A song called Diet Pepsi, and I forgot the lady that sings the song, but it's so sexual, it's so in your face, and my thought about it
I
is,
have Pepsi. I'm writing it down.
and my thought about it is that women don't want to be objectified. You know what I'm saying? And just known as,
Hmm.
but the entire song is just in her butt and everything else, and I'm just like we've not gone away from that role. I mean, they're saying like, people, it still sells. Sex still sells.
Right. Right.
And no
Oh
matter
yeah.
what they want to like say, okay, you got to just appreciate people and say, oh, which you should, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
But it's like,
Hmm.
she is, she's not even trying to sell music. It's just, and the thing is, and it's like, okay, you say, oh, that's like a her song, but it's like one of the hottest songs out there. It's like really
I'm
good.
gonna check it out tonight. Diet
Your wife's not
Pepsi.
watching that. Diet
Then
Pepsi
I'm
is
gonna go
really
put
good.
on Sir Mix-a-Lot. I like big butts.
And it's just funny because I'm like saying they don't want that. They don't want to be more. But she's put everything out there. It was crazy. Okay, things I
Mm.
hate. Things I hate.
Okay.
I like a good snowstorm. I like a good lightning storm. But
Mm-mm.
I hate rain and cold weather. Can't
I
stand
definitely hate
cold.
cold weather.
Rain
I
and
definitely think
well,
cold.
that's your Los Angeles, but you were in Midwest for a while.
No, no, it gets man, it gets cold out here.
What? Los Angeles?
Yes,
Oh, what,
I'm
50
from. Hold
degrees?
on, hold on, hold on.
50,
And
oh my gosh.
I'm from Ohio, so I know about cold weather. I know about. Hey, back in the day, we didn't have no snowblower. You know what the snowblower was?
Right.
Me.
What do
Out there
you don't get
shoveling
snow
that
in Los
snow.
Angeles. There's no snow there.
It actually snowed last year.
Oh my gosh, what do you guys do?
Of course, it's not like New York or Ohio snow, but it definitely gets. I can prove it's cold out
How
here.
cold does it
Look
get?
at my electric bill. We can't turn the heat off, man.
Yeah, it's
And I'm
crazy.
actually in a place called Palmdale, so it's like the desert. So it's outside of LA. So of course, being the desert, it's gonna definitely be cold. But it's been these last few years, man.
Hold on.
It's been cold. You have to put a coat on.
Oh my
We
God.
went to the Eagles Rams game last night, and we had coats on.
Wow, coats. Okay,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
You maybe have to put like maybe you have to put something you see that white stuff on the ground once in a blue moon too.
No, no. I don't want to see that, man.
The other thing that I hate is when you're having you're trying to say something to somebody and they're just blah. Like no
Mm.
reaction. You almost want them to get mad because they're just like not it's just like ugh. Because the most exciting story in the world is like ugh. You,
Right, right.
you run into those you
Yeah,
know
they just look at you like you're a zombie.
yeah, like right. I mean, I don't know if I don't think I'm wondering if they're right. You're right. I don't know if you watch it. I don't think there's any movie where the in real life is like that. Real life is people like ugh. In movies,
Yeah,
everyone's excited because you're not gonna watch a movie where someone's like telling a story and they're like oh. Everyone's excited about everything in movies or they're excited about their bounty paper towels. They're so excited about. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. But
In
just
real,
think some people date or marry people like that. How could you stay with somebody like that? I know they always say, opposites attract, but not like that, man. I could not just be with somebody just
blah.
yeah. Nah.
All right. Well, we also have some investing tips, which you always do too. And one of
Okay.
the things I think is important in investing, especially as this time of season coming along, is in young people what they like. So
Oh.
what young people start to like is a good stock to look into investing in because they know what the
Mm.
hot item is going to be before you do, or even the market knows. I
Well,
know how
look,
kids are.
I got 14 grandkids. I don't think any of them want that.
You need to know. You need to go to them and ask them, "Hey, what do you want for the holiday?" And if they're all saying, "We like this, I don't know, this new doll or whatever." You look what
Hmm.
stock makes that doll, and you invest in.
Ah, I
Yes,
got you.
that's the thing. You got because they really are deciding the market if it's really everybody's going in that direction before anybody else.
That's smart.
You know,
That's smart. Whatever the
I,
kids like.
whatever kids like before Christmas, especially. Now that
Hmm,
I
hmm.
know because and also you go the opposite way. If there's a hot item that everyone thinks is gonna be hot, and they say this is, I don't like this, you
This
can
is
the other way.
blah.
You can invest the other way. This is blah. The other thing that's a good thing to invest in now, by the way, is since Trump got elected, a lot of the
Hmm.
medical stuff have gone down because they're worried about Robert Kennedy. So Robert Kennedy getting involved in the whole thing. So, right now,
Yeah.
and it is a good investment because some of those are oversold. So you might want to
Hmm.
look at some of the bigger names and see how much they've fallen. Because right now the stock market's blowing up. So it's scary to invest money now because you don't know when it's gonna, slow down.
Right.
You can invest in
Right.
some good medical companies or Christmas. That's what you should do.
Yeah, I actually went to the doctor the other day, or yeah, I went to the doctor to get some blood taken. And I swear while I was in there, she used 3 pairs of gloves, man. And I'm just like, God, the glove company has to be cleaning up. 3 pair on one person. She kept like messing up, or she had to go do this, had to do that. Just keep on switching gloves. I'm like, wow, they
You
making some money.
watch these happen. Yeah, it's true. What did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do during COVID? How was that? How did that deal with as an actor? How did that come up? What did you guys do there?
I sat here sad. I sat here just like everybody else. And I had to listen to my wife, deal with not just the kids online, but the parents. The parents was the worst. And
LA
just
was
being
closed. Yeah. LA was closed
and
a lot longer too. So
yeah, Yeah. And just, you know, figure out the relationship and not killing each other pretty much. And then, but still trying to come together and, you know, be a team. So it was more mentally and emotionally tough than anything else. But then I learned that SAG after was giving people money.
After. Oh, that's good.
So, you know, my little tears, my little hurts and pains went
Uh,
away when I got a couple checks come in that they were helping people, you know, for the foundation.
right.
And a
Well,
lot of
that's
people didn't know, like the SAG After Foundation helped people with some bills or food or whatever.
but
And I wasn't,
I know you're a creative person. So what did you do? Did you start writing that time? Did you practice on what did you do during the time that you were free? Like and did they try to do your own podcast or your own thing? What happened then?
you know what, man? I think I got more into like exercising. Um, I was definitely doing a lot of creating. You know, even though I don't consider myself a writer, people seem to like what I create or what I write. You know, my film with Tony Todd, may he rest in peace. I created a movie called Devereaux, and you know, starring myself, Tony Todd, and I was the character Devereaux. It was like a new age Candyman,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, and Lionsgate put it out for me. So you know, I created that around that time, and just start creating a whole bunch of different travel shows because I would give up acting today to be a travel show host. I would. I love
Oh well, then
hosting.
I wait till I tell you my business idea. But before I get to that,
Okay.
this is up your alley, I have a feeling. I wanted to ask you about the most difficult time. People like to hear about experiences. I mean, you know, it hasn't always been an easy battle. And we can learn about, I mean, you mentioned starting at 30 years old and everything, which is amazing. And during this time, can you tell us more about something hard knocks that you had to overcome to get where you are?
Man, when I first moved out here, I just knew I was just gonna come out here and just take over because I had did traffic, you know, I had done some plays, independent film, not knowing that it takes way more than just that. I remember when I first came out here, I'm not emailing. I was mailing headshots out to people. That's when I used to mail stuff all the time. And I remember I had two people hit me back. And I'm like, wow, you know, I was probably sent out like 80 envelopes. And I remember going to see one person, well, see two. I saw the first one, and they's like, have a seat. I sat there, and nobody said anything to me for about 30 minutes. And I was like, this can't be right. And I got up and left. And this is an agent. I went to the second one. They was like, we like you. You know, you seem like a good guy. We want to sign you. I was like, all right. So just being in this business, and like we said earlier, the ups and downs, man, people don't realize you have more downs than you have ups. And you know, it's the way it's how you go by dealing with those that downtime. It's the toughest. You know, people see you on social media or you see you on TV or movies and they think everything is just peaches and cream. But they don't see the times when you worrying about how you're gonna pay this bill or you know, you're crying about this or that. It's tough. This is a tough business to be in.
That's an interesting question. Is that you have to have steady income, but you do have steady cost. Do you do something other than acting to make sure that you have that, or this is totally just acting?
This is it. This
So
is
like,
it,
so
man.
if it gets dry spell, you gotta let's I hope
Yes. This into death do us part.
yeah,
This right here.
that helps you out a little. Yeah. No, it's an interesting battle because it's like, you know, I mean, I have a building, you know, I have a business too. You don't know what's going to happen next day, but you know, you hopefully save up for all those things. That's a time ahead. Uh,
Yeah,
okay,
I
so
had a
here's your
security company. I had a security company for years. You know, I don't know if you remember the Von Dutch, Ed Hardy days, the trucker hats. I used to have guys in all the stores and stuff like that. So that
yes.
was definitely huge for me too.
So okay, I wanted to give you my business idea, which you might take on for yourself. I'll give you this one idea. Okay, it's called In Search of. Now, what it is In Search of people that are very intelligent, creative, that don't look like they fit that profile. So people that have special disabilities, if
Hmm.
they're handicapped, people that are in hospitals, mental hospitals, people, maybe even prisons, that are really, really intelligent, the high IQ, or they're really creative that the world has not seen. And this show would
Hmm.
just explore those people and where they are, maybe even help them get out of that lifestyle and do more for their lives.
Mm. I came
And
up with an
show.
idea kind of like that too. It's called I Have a Dream. And it's like what you just said about those type of people. And I would help them manifest their dream, make it come true.
I would just want to tell their stories because it's interesting. They're like, I remember, I've got his name off the top of my head. Boy, when you do these things live, the smartest guy in the world was paralyzed from the neck down. The British guy, I've got his name.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
And
I know
if that had happened, let's say 5 years previously, the world would never even know he existed. He just happened
right.
to be at that time a professor at college, all that stuff. But if he was just a regular guy, no one would know. And I mean, the series would never been known. And I'm sure there are so many people because of their quote where they are that we have.
Hmm.
I think God's created everybody for a reason, and every person has a special spot. And sometimes we don't know who they are, what they have. And this story show would explore those people. So I'm going to give you what
Well,
I
you put it together, man. You got your host.
sounds great. Sounds great. So I want to.
I'm a combination of Terry Crews and Michael Strahan, big
Oh,
guys with big personalities.
by the way, before I forget, please let everybody know if they want to know more about you and they want to follow what you're doing. Let me know. Well, how can they see that? Do you have Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff? Let me know.
Yeah, at Vincent M. Ward on all social media.
Everything, Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine
Yep.
yards. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I always like to end in a note about something, and I just noticed today something happened to me. I think God has a big plan for all of us, and we're just like a little, like almost an atom, you might say. And once in a while, you find those puzzle pieces, and like something happens, and it fits a pattern. And sometimes there's something like, okay, you forget, like you lose your watch, then you lose your phone, and the next day nothing happens like that. There's always seems to be patterns in life that things happen. And maybe it's here to teach us something so that we can be stronger through the good times and the bad times. So if we can look at the patterns of our life and maybe take something, knowledge from that and learn from it, then we all will be much, much better people. I want to
Yeah.
thank you, Vincent, for joining me today. I want to wish you continued success. And who knows, maybe we'll work on this new project together. It sounds very exciting.
Most def, man.
And
Most definitely. I'm
hopefully
easy to get along with.
you are great. And hopefully maybe you'll get a little snow and I'll get a little more sun.
You can have mine. I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.
Appreciate you.